Hello everyone, myself Nidhi Chopra, Assistant Professor of Physics from Khalsa College for Women, Sidhwan, Khurd, and today I am going to deliver a lecture on cyclotron. So the basic introduction of the cyclotron is, it is a device which is used to accelerate the charged particles in the presence of crossed electric and magnetic field. Now what is crossed electric and magnetic field? Means both the fields are perpendicular to each other. Next thing is, in a cyclotron, charged particles accelerate outwards from the central region and in a spiral path, means they follow a spiral path and the charged particle source is present at the center. As you can see in the figure, there are two electromagnets. One is in the upward direction and the other is in the lower direction, and there are two cylindrical, metallic and half cylinders are there, to which the electric field is applied. So the particles are held in a spiral trajectory by a static magnetic field and accelerated by a rapidly varying electric field which is applied to the central half metals. The basic principle of the cyclotron is that in cyclotron, cross electric and magnetic fields are present, in which electric field is used to accelerate the charged particle while the magnetic field is used to circulate the charged particle. Means the circular motion of the charged particle is responsible because of the magnetic field. Lorentz force is the basic principle for the working of the cyclotron. Now what is Lorentz force? It is the combinational force due to the electric and magnetic field, means the force contribution due to the electric field and the force contribution to the magnetic field total gives us the Lorentz force, that is Fe vector plus Fm vector, where Fe is Q into E vector, where capital E here is the electric field, and Fm vector is given by Q V vector cross B vector, where V is the velocity and B is the magnetic field. Now we will move towards its construction. So the main parts of the cyclotron are, first is the large sized magnet which is used to create the magnetic field in between its two face to face placed magnetic opposite poles. Second thing is two low height hollow half cylinders made of high conductive metals. These components of the cyclotron are called as the Ds. These are present in the middle portion, and the upper and lower portion are the electromagnets. A high frequency alternating voltage is applied to these Ds. Now we will discuss its working. So cyclotron accelerates a charged particle beam using a high frequency alternating voltage which is applied between the two hollow D-shaped metal sheet electrodes known as the Ds inside a vacuum chamber. The Ds are placed face to face with a narrow gap between them, as you can see in the figure. One is the blue colored D and the other is the orange colored D, and there is a gap between the two Ds. This gap is a cylindrical space within them and is provided for the particles to move. These are located between the poles of the electromagnet, which applies a static magnetic field perpendicular to the electrode plane. Now this magnetic field causes the path of the particle to bend in a circular form due to the Lorentz force perpendicular to the direction of the motion. An alternating voltage of several thousand volts is applied between the Ds. The voltage creates an oscillating electric field in the gap between the Ds that accelerate the particles. How? Suppose that one of the D is having a positive potential and the other D is having a negative potential. Then, as soon as the particle comes out of the Ds in the gap between the two Ds, the polarity of the Ds get reversed, so that the charged particle gets attracted towards the forward D and gets repelled by the previous D. So the frequency of the voltage is set in such a way so that it completes one cycle during one cycle of the voltage, so that it completes a complete circular cycle in one cycle of the voltage. To achieve this condition, the frequency must be set to the particle's cyclotron frequency. Next are the calculations which we make for finding out the radius of its path and also the frequency of the cyclotron, and sometimes also gives us the velocity and time period. So in magnetic field, magnetic force act as a centripetal force. Here the magnetic force is QVB and the centripetal force formula is mv square by r. So both are equivalent to each other, as the magnetic field is responsible for the circular motion. From this formula we can calculate the formula for the radius, and this shows that radius at each turn increases due to increase in velocity. Therefore it behaves like a spiral. So from previous equation we can also get the angular frequency. We know that velocity equals to qrb by m using the Lorentz force and centripetal force concept. Also we know that v equals to r into omega, where omega is the angular velocity. So omega equals to qb by m. If we write omega equals to 2 pi f, where f is the frequency, then we can get the formula for the frequency as qb by 2 pi m. Also, time period is just the reciprocal of the frequency, so we can get time as 2 pi m by qb. Hence, time period of the Ds and the frequency of high frequency oscillator is independent of the path of the charged particles. Now we come towards the limitation of this type of cyclotron. So this cyclotron basically used for the charged particles and not for the neutral particles, as we are applying electric field on the Ds, which causes the acceleration of the charged particle when it comes in between the gap between the two metallic Ds. So if the particle is not charged particle, then there will be no acceleration and hence the cyclotron will not function properly. Next thing is electrons. Since electrons have very small mass, so their speed increases very rapidly, and soon the resonance between the high voltage and the particle becomes lost. So a cyclotron cannot accelerate the electrons. And the third is cyclotron can accelerate particles to speeds much less than the speed of the light. There are advantages for the cyclotron that they can produce a very high energy beam of the particles, but there are some limitations which poses a problem in their use. So this was all about cyclotron. Hope you find it beneficial. Thank you.